Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. If you have your TEF Canada exam or TCF exam coming up soon, then you need to watch this video because in this video, I'm going to share some tips which you need to keep in mind while you're preparing for the exam at least 1 month in advance. And during the exam, there are few things that you need to keep in mind to make sure that you get a higher score. So please watch this video till the end. Alright, so before the exam, while you are prepping for the exam, my first tip is do not underestimate any section. We tend to take writing and speaking too seriously, and we do not spend enough time on listening and reading, which is a big mistake because during the exam, listening section passes by so quickly, and in reading, time management is very important because there are so many questions that you need to answer in just 60 minutes. So according to me, it is very important to do mock test on a daily basis for reading and listening so that you get used to the exam environment in advance. And you are also well versed with the type of questions that you get, what is the strategy that you should be using in each section. So please don't underestimate listening and reading. Those sections are also essential. And as you may already know, to get B2 plus, you need 450 points in each of these four sections out of 699. If you just miss by 1 point, if you get 449 in one section, then you won't get B2 plus and you'll have to go through the pain of taking the exam one more time. So this is exactly why I'm stressing upon spending enough time on each of four sections at least 1 month before the exam. In my case, I remember at least 3-4 weeks before the exam, I started making a timetable, and I used to make sure that I do at least one mock test of reading and one of listening, and I write on one topic for writing for both section A and section B, and I do at least one speaking conversation for each section A and B. So this is what I did at least 2-3 weeks before the exam, and that has really helped me to gain that tremendous confidence to attempt each of these sections with my 100% contribution. Now, if you are someone who has already taken a test but you have missed by a few points in just one section, it is very likely that you would want to focus more on that section only, but it is a mistake. Treat all four sections equally because there is no guarantee that next time also you are going to get V2 plus in all those three sections. You may miss by some points in one of those three sections as well, right? So please treat all four sections equally, dedicate time on all four sections equally. Having said that, the section in which you didn't score very well, yes, it is important to focus a little bit more on that section, but work on all other three sections as well. That's what I'm trying to say. My next tip is to do as many mock tests as possible for listening and reading. You can find mock test on Prep My Future, on TEF Academy, and there are some additional mock tests that I have also shared in one of my previous videos that I had created for listening. I had shared some mock tests from previous exams. So I will share the link down below in the description. You can find those additional mock tests also. Why am I saying that you should do as many mock tests as possible is because I don't know if you know, but in listening and reading, questions do repeat from previous exams. Yes, you have heard it right. Questions do circulate from previous exams. I think it is not so much in listening. You may get a couple of questions in listening from previous exams, but in reading, lot of questions repeat. And if you think about it, even if you find only couple of long texts which are familiar, then it is going to save you a lot of time and energy. For reading part, you should also read long text which are provided on TEF Academy. So when you buy their subscription to get access to their mock test, there would also be one section wherein there would be about 100 or 120 long text. So go through them as well. So as I said, if you get even a couple of them in the exam, that is going to be very helpful. Apart from that, on TEF group, which is there on Facebook, there also people share a lot of long text from previous years and from latest years. So if you have some time, you can go through them as well, and that is going to be very helpful. Tip number 3, I have created individual videos on each of four sections wherein I have shared detailed tips and tricks which you should know before the exam. So I would highly recommend that you go through those videos before the exam. Even if you have watched those videos already, if you have taken notes somewhere, it's fine, you can go through the notes. But otherwise, just a couple of weeks before the exam, just rewatch those videos, because you are going to find many essential tips based on my experience. So you can probably find those tips very useful. So it is important that you also use those tips in your exam. Now, during the exam, I have two very important tips to share with you. Number one, treat each section as an individual exam. As I said earlier, you need at least 450 out of 699 in each of these four sections to get B2 plus. So for some reason, if you don't feel very confident about your attempt in one of these sections, don't get disheartened and don't let it impact your performance in other three sections. What if it's just you who's thinking that you have not given your 100%, but you have actually given it your best attempt and you are going to get B2 plus? If you get disheartened and let it impact your performance on other sections also, there is a high probability that you'll have to take the exam the second time. So once you are done with one section, just forget about it. And for now, just focus on the section that you're going to attempt now. Please keep this in mind. You should have this mindset even while you are on a particular section. For instance, if you're working on reading section and section A and B went really well, but in section C you have struggled a bit, and now you still have section D to attempt, right? Don't think that all the answers in section C are going to be incorrect and there is no point focusing on section D anymore. Please don't think like that. You don't know, you never know how much score you're going to get, and you never know, maybe you have selected right answers for most of these questions, right? So just be in the moment, just give your 100% each and every moment during the exam, and then later on let's see what happens, but don't get disheartened. Now, my tip number two and very essential would be to stay in the French zone during the exam. Between different tests like reading, writing, listening, and speaking, you might get some breaks. So whenever you get an opportunity to interact with somebody, try and speak in French only with the teacher or with other people who have come to take the test. Also, before your speaking test, if you get about 30 to 40 minutes break, then please listen to French, or you can speak to somebody in French. And if you don't have anyone around you to speak in French, then maybe just use that opportunity to think through how do you open the conversation for section A, and how do you open the conversation for section B, how do you conclude your conversations. If you want to give a counter argument, what kind of connectors do you use, things like that. Where are the places where there is an opportunity to use subjunctive in speaking, for instance? Or think about any expressions which you generally use during your conversation, which can probably increase the possibility of getting a slightly higher score. So basically what I mean to say is, if you have some extra time, just stay in the French zone, speak in French, listen to French, even think in French, but don't use English at all, because being in the French zone is going to boost your confidence. And when you actually take the test, you would feel more confident because you have been in the French zone for past few hours. That is all I wanted to share. Please find some useful material like mock test in the description box below, and some other videos in the description box below, which I highly recommend that you should watch before the exam. And as always, I want to wish you all the best. And please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you on those. All the best. Bye.